What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. Before we get into the actual video today, I do want to let you know that we are going to be live on this channel tomorrow night, right around 8 p.m. to one, watch the World Series together, and two, talk about what could happen this offseason for the Boston Red Sox. I know it's not a Red Sox World Series, and we really have nothing to do with this World Series, but I missed you guys. So we're going to go live again tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to watch the World Series and just talk Red Sox baseball, life, whatever you want. So make sure you guys stop on by. Anyways, with the World Series coming towards the end, we've only got maximum 5 days left of the World Series. Means the offseason is starting soon. Guys can opt out right after the World Series starts, and 5 days after, free agent signings can begin and trades open up. Now, for the most part, the Red Sox offseason is a little bit of a mystery, and not even a little bit of a mystery. It's a huge mystery as to what the Boston Red Sox are going to do this offseason because there's just so much to do. And we keep getting tidbits of information here and there, and that's what we got this week. We got some more little information that could point us in a direction that the Red Sox want to go this offseason. We got rumors and news about J.D. Martinez contract situations, and the Red Sox made a pretty interesting roster move this last week that could have some interesting effects on the 2023 offseason. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about all the news that came out regarding the Boston Red Sox this week. We're going to wrap it up and talk about how it affects this Red Sox team and what it could mean for the offseason for the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Let's start with the smaller of the two news items. And before we get into the bigger JD stuff, let's talk about the roster move the Red Sox made. Because in the last couple of days, the Red Sox dropped Tyler Danish from their 40-man roster. Now, instead of being outrighted and sent straight to the minor leagues, Tyler Danish elected to become a free agent. This basically means that Tyler Danish is not a part of the Boston Red Sox anymore. First of all, that kind of sucks for us here at Red Seat Radio. He's a bit of a cult classic in our live stream, so we're going to have to replace that emote for anyone who's a member of the bleachers and stuff like that. So keep an eye out on a new emote for everyone who does have a membership to this channel. But I'm not entirely surprised by this move. Tyler Danish was okay in some spots. He was pretty bad in other spots. He ended up being a very mid-level reliever. He ended 2022 with a ERA of 5.12, an ERA plus of just 82, meaning he was about 18% worse than the average pitcher in baseball, and he ended with a FIP of 4.97, so he wasn't just getting unlucky with the defense behind him, he was not a great pitcher. And all in all, those stats aren't exactly jumping off the page at you. While this move isn't exactly exciting or surprising, it is interesting though, because what it does is it opens up a 40-man roster spot. Now, this could be filled by a guy who the Red Sox don't want to lose in the Rule 5 draft, which is picking back up this year. A couple of those guys that come to mind, Ceddanne Rafael is eligible for the Rule 5 draft. That's definitely a guy you got to get on your 40-man roster. Ryan Fitzgerald is a guy who isn't on the 40-man who might be an interesting put on the 40-man roster. Thaddeus Ward is a guy who might end up on this 40-man roster. So we could see some fairly interesting moves coming in the next couple of weeks as to how they fill that roster spot. Now, in my opinion, Rafael is going to make his way onto that roster regardless. I don't think the Red Sox are going to let him go to the Rule 5 draft and take a chance that some team doesn't pick him up. But the other two guys could be an interesting mix. These two guys might have to end up battling it out for a 40-man roster spot. In my opinion, Thaddeus Ward makes the most sense at this point. He's getting closer to being major league ready. And on top of that too, he is a pitcher, and you're losing that pitching depth, letting go of Tyler Danish. So in my opinion, the roster spot might be filled by Thaddeus Ward. It seems like the best fit for me. It is also interesting because it's another bullpen cut this offseason. We already saw Urias Familia pack up and leave. He was outrighted and did not elect to go down to the minor leagues. And it seems to me that the Red Sox are really trying to go in depth into their bullpen. Take a look at every single guy in there and sort of trim more fat. They're looking for guys who didn't exactly have a great 2022 that they either don't think is fixable or don't think is going to improve this bullpen in the future, which is a good sign. It's a good start to what the Red Sox need to do to get this bullpen where it needs to go. You need to cut the loose ends. You need to get the guys out of here who won't be a productive member of this team in the future. But there's another half to that they have not done yet, and that is improve on those spots. Get guys in here who could be a legitimate force force in this Red Sox bullpen. Guys who can legitimately help this team win in the future, not just in 2023, but beyond. And we have yet to see that half of this play out, but that's mostly because free agent / trading periods haven't opened up yet. So we're going to have to wait a little bit on that. All in all, this Tyler Danish move, while not surprising, could end up being fairly interesting depending on how they work that 40-man roster spot. And it means that the Red Sox are starting to cut the fat of the bullpen. The question is now, how do they fill it? Now let's get on to the bigger news, the big topic we got to talk about, and that is JD Martinez contract situation with the Boston Red Sox. The bigger news to come out in the last week was a report from Jon Heyman, which stated that the Red Sox were not planning on extending JD Martinez a qualifying offer. Now, I've gone over what a qualifying offer is in detail before, but just in case you need a quick refresher, you didn't see that video, a qualifying offer is basically an insurance contract. It's a 1-year deal worth the average of the top 125 players in baseball, and if JD Martinez takes that, great. If he doesn't and goes to a different team, that team now owes the Red Sox a 4th-round draft pick. So either way, you're getting compensation for offering him that deal. Anyways, this really isn't news again that should be shocking anybody. JD Martinez had a bit of a rough year in terms of his power stroke. Now, in general, he had a fairly decent year overall. His average was fairly decent, although that was mostly supported by a huge first half. His doubles ended up being pretty decent. I think he was 3rd or 4th in the league in doubles, but the Red Sox had a huge problem with power this year, and JD Martinez was at the front of that. It didn't look like JD Martinez could put the ball out anymore, and he really wasn't that much of a power threat on this team in 2022. Now, this doesn't absolutely guarantee that the Red Sox are actually going to not offer him this qualifying contract. This is just makes it more likely that they do not. There is still a chance in the next 5-6 days that the Red Sox change their mind and decide maybe we should take a chance on JD Martinez having a rebound year in 2023, then figure out our future after that. But if I'm being totally honest with you, everything that's led up to this moment plus this report, find it very unlikely that the Red Sox are going to change their mind and give JD Martinez a qualifying offer. It also doesn't mean that the Red Sox aren't planning on extending JD Martinez, but they don't seem very intrigued by that idea either. Everything that they have done and signed points towards not re-signing JD, and this is just another step in that direction, in my opinion. I would be at this point fairly shocked if JD Martinez ended up on the Boston Red Sox in 2023. The only way at this point I could see that happening if he really wants to take a team-friendly deal. If he ends up with a 2-year, $20 million contract, maybe, then yes, I could see him coming back. But at this point, everything and all the signs are pointing towards JD not coming back in 2023, which means the Red Sox need to find and fill the power position of DH on this team. Whether that means being versatile, whether that means being a straight DH, whether that means rotating players you have on this team now, whatever it means, the Red Sox now are going to have to fill that void. Yes, a small void in 2022, but a big void in total with JD Martinez leaving. And that is going to make things very interesting this off season. That's all I got for you guys, because most of the time during the World Series, we don't get a ton of news. I don't know whether it's an unwritten rule or a legitimized written rule within the rule book somewhere, but for the most part, teams stay away from breaking news about signings, about opt-outs and stuff like that until after the World Series is done, so everyone can kind of focus on that World Series. So we probably won't have a ton of news between now and when free agency opens, but of course I'm going to keep you guys as updated as possible. And until then, let me know what you think of these moves down below. Do you like the Tyler Danish move? Did you think there was still something left in the tank for Tyler Danish? What do you think of the JD Martinez contract news? Does it surprise you at all? Do you think that he deserves a qualifying offer? Let me know all your thoughts on these two topics down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said in the beginning, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tomorrow night right around 8 p.m. for the live stream and in the Red Seat.